Okay, so here's my overflow. It comes from my big old black storage tank over there. Kind of buried it a little bit, comes out and it goes here. So I put a T on it so that one, it can overflow out of the top of this, and then two, as I divert the overflow, the excess water that I have, because I don't want it to just dump on the ground, and I run it to another tank over there, and I'll show you that in just a second. But this thing, this T1, that's overflow, so that's access to my tank. So you got to put a screen on top of it that helps keep any bugs or critters from climbing into your overflow pipe and then ending up inside your tank. So got that there. Let me show you where this black pipe goes and why I have this. Okay, so here's my secondary tank, 550 gallon polypropylene tank. And this pipe, that comes from my overflow from my whole house tank. And so instead of letting that water just dump out on the ground, I have a filter all over, I have it run all the way over here and fill this tank. And so this tank, yeah, so it's full of water too. And we really haven't had rain in quite some time. So I know it's been at least a few weeks, but again, it never rains here, but when it does, it rains a lot. So you want to be able to catch that rain the best way you can with as many tanks as you can. And so this tank, this is the tank that I feed my water trough with down the hill. And so I have a pipe that comes out of here and runs all the way down that hill to that water trough. So you can see right there. And there it goes, all the way down the hill. And the great thing about this polypropylene tubing is that it's not messed up by the UV rays. It's not messed up by the UV rays. You don't have to bury it because it's not going to freeze, or even if the water inside it does freeze, it's not going to bust the pipe. So you can just literally run it along the ground. So I just fished it through all the cedar trees, plugged it in, good. Has been running for 4 years, had zero issues with it. I got a covered patio, so I want to catch the rain off of it also. So I've got gutters on it, and I have it diverted to this water trough. But it'll put out a lot of water, and it fills this trough pretty quickly. So what I did here too is I added an overflow on the trough, kind of like the overflow on a bathtub. And it diverts the water down into that black tubing, and I run it down the hill, and I actually filled my secondary tank with it also. I'm not just from the main house, but so I put a T in there so it gets filled with this, because this one will overflow much faster than the main house tank. So even with the smallest of rain, I'm still catching some rainwater that it goes and it feeds my water trough down at the bottom of the hill. So it works out really well for me. It allows me to give them water year round, even like I said, during the summer when we go long periods of time without rain, they still got something to drink. Another option for watering your wildlife is just put a little water trough like this. So I put some tin, and really all I did was I cut into this cedar tree, and I cut the branches at like a 45-degree angle. Then I laid the tin over on top of it and just kind of screwed it to the branches underneath. I don't know if you can see a good look at that or not. Anyways, it all comes down and feeds to the water trough. So works really well. But you might notice it's not just that. I mean, that's going to give me some rain, but it's not going to give me a lot. So if you look close, I've got a little float valve inside there. And so the float valve is fed by this black tubing. This is just polyethylene tubing, and it's utility grade. So it's not rated at potable water, but it is rated for utility use, and it's great for watering animals. It's real inexpensive, it's low pressure. Anyways, that tubing runs all the way up the hill to the cabin. Front porch on the cabin catches the rain and then feeds it into a trough, which overflows into another tank, which then brings it down here to this water trough. And there you go. another way to feed your water your animals. Okay, so not only do we want to provide some decent drinking water for the animals, I want to provide food too. So I thought, well, why don't I plant some fruit trees? So I did. I planted a couple of fruit trees. I got some plum trees over here, got me a persimmon tree, and you got to protect them because as you guys know, the deer will eat them down to nothing. So what I did was I built some bermas around them. Just took some old branches of cedar when I was clearing, and I just piled it up in a circle around those. And it's done a really effective job of keeping the animals away from the trees and eating them down to nothing. But the trees need water too. So I had to figure out a way, how can I get them steady water on a regular basis so that they can survive out here, because it gets really hot and dry in the summer months. So one thing I come up with was, how about the air conditioner, right? It makes water, condensate. So come over to my air conditioner. I catch the condensate. So that's a condensate line coming out of the house. I built like a little funnel thing, tied it with a string, and then I run the tubing down to my fruit trees. So every time the air conditioner kicks on, it makes condensate, waters my trees. And it works out just amazing. I can't believe how well they do. Another option for watering wildlife. Another option for watering your wildlife. You know, the other animals, they just didn't appreciate the hogs using their water trough as a bathtub. So I cut a couple pieces of unistrut, channel iron, and used some beam clamps to mount it to the side of the water trough and kind of wired it in place. And ever since, they haven't been bathing in our trough. Well, I hope you liked our video enough to subscribe. Your comments and suggestions are always welcome. We'll see you next time.
Well, I heard about a man from Tennessee. He got a one-way ticket to Vegas to live a dream. With the roll of the dice, he sacrificed every bit of sanity. Well, I saw the lights of Vegas sweep him clean. And he said, oh Lord, I'm taking my pain. Oh Lord, I got nowhere to stay. Oh Lord, just a bumming around today. Well, I heard about a man in Arkansas. Well, he told me he was looking for a job. He tried everything he could, and he did what they said he should. But I saw Arkansas take it all. He said, oh Lord, you're taking my pain. Oh Lord, I got nowhere to stay. Oh Lord, just a bumming around today. Well, I saw a gal standing in some town. Well, she was holding up a sign for downtown, looking for some work. She just needs a little perk. Well, I saw society just to let her be.